Welcome back to the exciting and dramatic developments of The Young and the Restless broadcast on our channel. Under the dim lights of the Grand Phoenix Hotel lobby, in the darkness of the hidden corners, Sally stood silently with eyes full of anger and disappointment. She was not someone who was easily hurt, but tonight, what she witnessed made her heart burn like an unquenchable fire. Sally's two hands clenched so tightly that her nails dug into her skin, as if wanting to mark each burning wound in her heart. She couldn't believe her eyes when she saw Billy and Phyllis sitting next to each other, in a space where the intimacy exceeded the limits of a normal conversation. Billy, with his usual confident and cold demeanor, leaned towards Phyllis, whispering something that only the listener could understand. His lips seemed to convey a secret promise, making Phyllis laugh with delight, a smile that was both charming and cunning. The way Phyllis lightly touched Billy's arm, a seemingly clumsy gesture but containing a provocative message, made Sally feel every drop of blood in her body explode into anger. In Sally's eyes, Phyllis was the epitome of cunning, a woman who knew how to use sweet words to lure and manipulate anyone who was vulnerable to her charm. Sally recalled Billy and Phyllis's complicated past, a troubled relationship, where the promises once exchanged now seemed to be just ashes of an irrecoverable past. Billy was stubborn, a steadfast personality, but he could not deny his weakness when faced with Phyllis's tricks. She knew that there was always a void in Billy's heart, a part of his past that he had always tried to hide. And Phyllis, with her great subtlety and manipulation skills, knew how to exploit that void, turning it into a tool to achieve her goals. A sense of injustice and anger spread through Sally's mind. She could not let Billy, the person she once trusted and respected, fall into the vortex of such shady and dangerous relationships. The image of Lily, who always valued honesty and honor, made Sally feel even more responsible to intervene. She knew that if Billy continued to let this relationship float, not only his personal honor but also the reputation of Chancellor Winters would be seriously affected. In that dark moment, Sally decided that she could not just stand by and do nothing. She quietly left the hotel lobby, each step echoing her vow to protect the values she believed in. In her mind, a plan slowly formed. Billy had to take responsibility and realize that his actions affected not only himself but also those around him. If Billy still wanted to maintain a good image in Lily's eyes and protect the company's reputation, he had no choice but to end his unhealthy relationship with Phyllis. The next day, as the morning light filtered through the office window at Chancellor Winters, Sally appeared decisively in Billy's office. Without giving him a chance to breathe, she slammed her fist on the desk, startling Billy and causing him to turn around to look. Before his surprised gaze, Sally calmly placed a series of photos on the table, photos taken last night at the Grand Phoenix Hotel. Each photo was irrefutable evidence, capturing Billy and Phyllis in overly intimate poses, even a close-up showing Phyllis's affectionate gaze as she looked at Billy. Billy tried to make excuses, but Sally cut him off with the firmness of someone who knew the value of honesty. She said, her voice filled with determination. In that tense space, Billy felt pressured and tormented by difficult choices. He knew that every action had consequences, and that his connection with Phyllis was not only personal but also threatened the stability of relationships that had been built over the years. His heart was pounding, the fear of losing the respect of loved ones and colleagues crept into his every thought. But there was also a part of him that felt confused and bewildered by the temptation Phyllis brought, a temptation that had once caused him to struggle with himself. Sally's voice rang out like a warning, a reminder of the inevitable consequences if Billy did not change. In that moment, the atmosphere in the office became heavy, each passing second seemed to last forever. Billy looked down at the pictures, the image of himself with Phyllis appearing like a curse, reminding him of past decisions and regrets that could not be erased. His heart was filled with mixed emotions: anger, shame, and pain for losing the trust of those around him. He remembered the long nights with Lily, the promises he had sworn to always be honest and protect his family, no matter what. Those memories were like a strong medicine, forcing him to face the truth he had tried to deny. In Billy's mind, he wondered if he could ever return to the person Lily once loved, or if he could forgive himself for his unforeseen mistakes. He realized that his connection with Phyllis was not just a temptation of lust, but also a loss of self-worth. If he continued down this path, everything he had built, from love, trust to the company's reputation, would collapse in an instant. Sally did not give Billy much time to think. She insisted that acting now would be the first step to regaining trust and restoring lost honor. She presented a specific plan, Billy had to publicly announce his illicit relationship, and at the same time disassociate himself from all contact with Phyllis. Furthermore, she asked him to work closely with the company's leadership to restore the image of Chancellor Winters, a brand that not only stood for business success but also for strong moral values. Time passed, the office became quiet as Billy was lost in thought. He looked up at Sally's determined eyes, a woman who was not only strong but also had a vision. She is not only the person behind the desk, but also the person who protects the values that the company represents, and above all, the friend who never accepts dishonesty. In that moment, Billy realized that life is not only full of romantic moments, but also full of difficult decisions that require courage and integrity. He told himself that, in order to be true to himself and to Lily, he had to put aside temporary temptations, no matter how attractive they seemed. His decision not only affected the present but also shaped the future of both of them, his and those around him. In the following days, Billy embarked on a journey of self-reflection, trying to weigh the past and the future. He knew that the path to repairing his reputation was not easy, but his determination to regain the trust of those around him pushed him forward step by step. Every morning, as the sun rises, Billy wonders if he can weather the storm and find himself again. He remembers the promises he made to Lily, the promises of a man who will always stand firm in the face of storms, regardless of temptations and challenges. In the process, Sally not only acts as a wake-up call but also as a companion, always by Billy's side to remind him of the true value of honesty and dedication. She holds strategic meetings with Chancellor Winters' leadership, setting new goals to restore the company's image and reputation. Each meeting is filled with energy and determination, as an affirmation that, no matter how many difficulties, truth and morality will always prevail. Behind the scenes, the relationship between Billy and Lily Winters also goes through many challenges. Lily, with her sensitive heart and thirst for honesty, felt betrayed by Billy's shady actions. But at the same time, she also knew that true love requires forgiveness and understanding. Their conversations, initially tense, gradually turned into heart-to-heart talks, where each shared their feelings and their desire to rebuild lost trust. Meanwhile, Phyllis refused to give up. She understood that in the competitive business world, every move she made could give her an advantage. Phyllis used every trick in the book, from convincing her colleagues to using subtle tricks to gain a position of power. She constantly sought to manipulate Billy, hoping that one day, he would return to her arms, an arm full of promise but also full of danger. But as Sally's assertive presence gradually reveals the flaws in Phyllis's plan. The story between the three people, Sally, Billy and Phyllis, gradually becomes a fierce battle of wits, where every action has profound meaning and unpredictable consequences. The conflict is not only on a personal level but also affects the entire complex system of relationships in Genoa City's business world. Every decision made carries with it a story of its own, a piece of complicated truth and inseparable connections. Day by day, Billy realizes that the truth cannot be hidden forever. He begins to work closely with Sally and the leadership, together rebuilding the lost trust. He holds press conferences, where he publicly admits his mistakes and pledges to change. His words, though sometimes choked up, contain sincerity and determination to start over. In the eyes of the public, Billy's image gradually changes, from a man full of contradictions and temptations to a symbol of transformation and courage. At the same time, the relationship between Sally and Billy also becomes more complicated. There are times when Sally's decisiveness makes Billy feel forced, but there are also moments when he realizes that it is thanks to Sally that he has the strength to face his inner challenges. They gradually rebuild trust with each other, gradually healing the wounds left by time and mistakes. In that context, Phyllis seems to be losing control. She realizes that, when Billy and Chancellor Winters' reputations are restored, her position in the power system will also be shaken. Phyllis's plots and plans can no longer easily manipulate the situation as before. She is forced to find a way to adapt and adjust her strategy in a world where truth and transparency are increasingly valued. In the end, the struggle between people with different values has left a profound lesson. In life, there are no shortcuts to success and honor. Every action has its consequences, and only honesty and courage to face oneself can open the door to salvation. Sally, with all her determination and uncompromising heart, became a symbol of faith in justice and righteousness. She dared to stand up, to speak up when she saw the truth being hidden, and through that, helped Billy realize his mistakes. The events that passed not only changed the lives of individuals but also reshaped the entire value system of a society full of contradictions and challenges. Genoa City, with all its calculations and intrigues, witnessed the rise of people who not only knew how to fight for their personal rights but also knew how to stand up to protect noble values. In that context, each person, from Billy to Sally, from Lily to Phyllis, were vivid characters with their own stories of love, betrayal, redemption, and rebirth. And the story of Billy, Sally and Phyllis, though it traverses a range of emotions, always reminds us that, amidst the darkness of conflict and intrigue, the truth always finds a way to rise. Every decision, no matter how difficult and courageous, can become a turning point that leads us to a new future, a future where honor and honesty always come first. As the sun sets after a long day of tossing and turning, Billy stands before the mirror, telling himself that from now on he will never let temptation cloud the path he has chosen. He understands that, in order to be true to himself, he must learn to let go of things that do not belong to the past and look towards the future with new faith. His story is not only a personal story but also a message for all those who have ever lost their way in the maze of temptation and lies. Sally, in the darkness of long nights of reflection, also realizes that her role is not limited to intervening when the truth is hidden. She is a person who believes in justice, who will always stand up when she sees wrong, regardless of the consequences. She knows that, no matter how bumpy the road ahead is, only honesty and courage can guide us all. In the context of the young and the restless, where every relationship is woven from the thin threads of truth and lies, the battle for honor and love becomes even more fierce. But it is also in those moments of adversity that we see the true nature of humanity. A combination of unexpected weakness and strength, between deep pain and the desire to be forgiven, to live a full and meaningful life. Finally, as things gradually became clear, the atmosphere in Chancellor Winter's office seemed to be purified. The dark images of the past, the seductive whispers were now just bitter memories, reminding everyone that, in life, nothing is more precious than truth and honesty. Billy, with all his regrets and determination to reform, began to rewrite his story, a story that, despite all the stumbles, ultimately leads to the light of salvation and faith in a better future. The story of the night at the Grand Phoenix Hotel, with its unforgettable images of Billy and Phyllis, has become an indispensable piece in the complex picture of life in Genoa City. It is a reminder that, no matter how strong the temptations, only perseverance and courage can help us overcome challenges. And it is in those challenges that people like Sally, with their indomitable spirit, prove that the truth always has the power to overcome the darkness of lies. Through each page of the story, we see that each character, from the conflicted Billy, to the cunning Phyllis and the resilient Sally, all carry within them a part of the overall picture, a vivid picture of humanity with all the nuances of emotion, of love and of redemption. They are testament to a timeless message, that no matter where life takes us, only honesty and courage can help us rise up, find ourselves and affirm our true worth. And so, when the night falls, when all the lights of the city gradually turn off, the story of Billy, Sally and Phyllis is still there, a story that never ends. Where each new chapter opens up opportunities to start over, to correct mistakes and to continue living with the belief that, no matter how many hardships, the light of truth will always shine, leading us to a tomorrow full of hope and happiness. So follow our channel to update the exciting and dramatic developments of the ongoing film.